On this video, I'm going to show you the absolute easiest way to replace your valve stem without taking the tire off of the wheel. All right, let's get to it. Okay, the problem is quite simple. Valve stems are designed to go in the wheel before you mount the tire. So if you damage one, you typically will need to go to a tire shop to have them break the bead of the tire to be able to access that valve stem. Going off-road will put your valve stems at a greater risk for being damaged, which is why I like to keep these QuickStems in my tool bag. Unlike a traditional valve stem, these can actually be installed from the top side of the wheel. While my trail-ready bead locks do a great job at protecting my valve stems in general, years of wheeling and frequent air pressure changes in my 40-inch Nitto trail grapplers had taken its toll on my valve stems. Rather than risk them failing on my next off-road outing, I decided to replace them in the garage, and this is how I did it. While you do not have to remove the tire and wheel from the vehicle entirely to do this process, you should support it so when the tire is completely deflated, there's not a lot of weight resting on it. All you need to do is put a jack stand under the vehicle and you can air down. A floor jack will work as well. Jack stand's a little bit safer. If you're off-road, use a bottle jack or a scissor jack. I know a lot of times when this happens, it's not something that you planned on. So the big thing to remember here is you want to get weight off of the tire and wheel so you can safely do this and you don't have to worry about it becoming debeaded. First thing I've got to do is go ahead and get this thing aired down, and I'm going to use a core remover. This is just a faster and more efficient way to let the air out of the tire. Next, I put a little spray lube on, and then I already knew that my valve stem was in a pretty rough shape, so I didn't think I was going to be able to get it out in one piece. So I used my valve stem tool to pull off as much as I could and then tried to fish out the rest with a hook, but unfortunately some of it fell down inside of the wheel. That's okay, not a big deal. It's not going to affect the balancing of this 40. The next thing, I just clean up that hole really well and then make sure it's dry, then insert the new push-in QuickStem. All you have to do from here is hand tighten it with a 12 millimeter. I like to make sure that it's just nice and snug before I ever put a wrench on it. Then do a couple pulls of the wrench. All you're doing is making sure that it's swollen and snug. That's it. I like to put the valve tool back on it. Then I make sure I can't pull it back off, and then I'll air back up the tire, and it's really that simple. Now these are not TPMS compatible, and that's tire pressure monitoring system. What you see here on this Jeep wheel is a TPMS sensor. That is a very large sensor designed to tell your computer what the air pressure is in that tire. Given that I do go off-road frequently, whenever I built the bead locks, I decided to not use a TPMS valve stem, so if I did have this issue, it wouldn't be floating around inside of the wheel. Now, these valve stems would still work if you have a TPMS sensor as a trail fix. So basically, you'll still, if you break off that valve stem, this part of the sensor is going to be floating down inside of your tire. But you can at least install that other valve stem. It'll get you off the trail, down the highway, and then you can fix the Jeep later. For me, I'm not running a TPMS. I've turned that off with my Taser JL Mini from Z Automotive, so all I have to do is replace the valve stem and I'm good to go. There are other kits out there that will allow you to use a traditional valve stem, which are very inexpensive, but you have to buy the toolkit. A great example of that is this AME kit that I have here. It comes with a funnel. It comes with 2 valve stems, an installer tool, and a removal tool, which is absolute garbage. This kit's about $45, $44, something like that. And the way it works is essentially you're going to remove the valve stem using this garbage tool that half the time doesn't work. And you're going to install it by threading on your new valve stem, putting it in this funnel here, and you're going to line up the funnel with the valve hole opening. At that point, you'll take a dead blow hammer, which is not included, and hammer the new valve stem in until it goes through the wheel, and then you'll pull it back up. My experience with this kit is that it works okay so long as you lubricate everything well and have a wheel that this can easily set and line up on. The problem with off-road centric wheels is a lot of times they have protection for the valve stem, and it makes this tool useless. So for me, it's not something I carry with me as much, but I still have it, so I figured I'd at least show it to you. And yes, there are other options to use the cheaper valve stems, but if you have to buy the kit right out of the gate, you're going to spend more money versus just buying 2 valve stems at 30 something bucks. I prefer the QuickStems. You can keep them in your glove box. All you need is a 12mm tool to install them. They're super easy. You can, it's not a complicated install by any means. You can quickly do it on the trail versus this having to carry a hammer with you, making sure you get it lined up right, and who knows what the trail conditions are where you're trying to do all of this. So I feel like it's worth showing, hey, there are other options out there, and there's probably even better options than this, but I think in terms of simplicity and speed, the QuickStems are pretty fantastic for that. So hopefully you guys found this informative. I've been needing to replace those for a little while on the Gladiator, and now that that's done, I can get back to the slew of other things that are unfortunately wrong with the Gladiator right now. But that'll be for another video. If you guys want to see what I'm working on behind the scenes, you can check me out on Instagram at @OllieMansourEditor. And if you have any questions, always just drop them in the comments. Very active on here. Be happy to answer them there. And as always, appreciate you guys watching and hope to see you on the trail. Take care. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing to the Driving Line channel. Our goal is to excite, entertain, and educate you on all things automotive. So if you want to come be part of our journey, please hit that subscribe button, and we hope to see you on the next video. Take care.